Are you trying to make print then cut t-shirts, but Cricut Design Space doesn't match the tutorials that you're watching, and your cuts or your transfers keep coming out wrong? You are not alone. This feature can be weirdly unforgiving, especially after updates. One day it works, but then your cuts are slightly off and you've wasted a sheet of transfer paper, ink, and time. And since Design Space updates regularly, your screen might look a little different than mine, and that's okay. I'll show you exactly what to look for. Today I'm walking you through the updated step-by-step way to do print then cut iron-on, so it prints clean, scans reliably, cuts correctly, and presses on for a lasting design, even after washing. Hello everyone, Jennifer Maker here. It's a beautiful day to make a print then cut iron-on t-shirt using my free design step-by-step. Also, I'll explain when you should choose this method over regular vinyl or sublimation. By the end of this tutorial, you'll know when print then cut iron-on is the smartest choice, how to set up a design properly in Design Space, how to get a clean cut, and how to press it so it actually lasts. I'll also show you some quick checks that prevent the most annoying print then cut fails, like when your Cricut isn't reading the sensor marks right and everything cuts wrong. Now, I recommend watching this tutorial all the way to the end before trying it. And remember, you can change the speed and rewind as needed. And if you're really new to Cricut, I recommend you check out my beginner tutorial at cricutkickoff.com. And you'll want to stick around for a chance to win your very own Cricut too, so you can make t-shirts right along with me. Before we jump into the steps, let's get clear on something important. Although print then cut iron-on transfer paper is often called printable heat transfer vinyl, it's not vinyl. With traditional HTV, you're cutting solid colors and layering them to create an image. That works great for bold graphics, but detailed or photo-style artwork can get complicated quickly. With sublimation, the ink bonds with polyester, so you need high-poly, light-colored shirts. Print then cut iron-on works differently. Because it's a printed transfer, you can use cotton shirts in darker colors, print detailed full-color artwork, skip layering completely, and use a standard inkjet printer. So when should you pick print then cut iron-on? Use it when your design has lots of colors or shading, you want detailed or photo-style artwork, you're using cotton fabric, and you don't want to layer vinyl. Now you know when to use print then cut iron-on. So let's try it. To follow along with me, grab my free example design. I made 3 versions so you can choose your favorite. A bloom, a cat, or a cozy tea design. You can get them at jennifermaker.com/803. Download the file, open the PNG folder, and pick the one you love. If your cuts are even slightly off, calibrating your Cricut can fix that. It only takes a few minutes. Go to the menu, select Settings, Machines, and then Machine Calibration, and follow the prompts. I have a full walkthrough in my Fill Patterns in Cricut Design Space tutorial. But for most people, just running calibration once solves alignment issues immediately. On a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, upload the PNG of your choice. We don't need to remove the background, so click Apply and Continue. Select Flat Graphic to tell your Cricut it's a print then cut project. Then click Continue, then Upload to add it to your canvas. Designs with clean, simple edges like my cat design make for easier cutting and weeding later. PNGs come in full size, so you can use the plus and minus at the bottom to zoom out. You'll see a red warning icon in the Layers panel that says your image is too large for the cut area. Click the icon and select Auto Resize Image to resize it to the maximum size it can print for your material size. You can print your design at the max size, which will work for most adult shirt sizes. If you'd like more control over the size, you can use a shirt template to help with sizing, open layouts, and choose t-shirt, then pick your shirt size. The shirt template is just a visual guide. It won't print or cut. It simply helps you see how large your design will look on a real shirt. Drag your design into the dashed area on the shirt template. The left side is the front, and the right side is the back. Avoid the pocket outline if your shirt has one. Otherwise, it's fine if your design overlaps that area on the template. If you need to make the design smaller, make sure the lock icon is closed, then drag a corner handle of the bounding box to resize it proportionally. And if you'd like to add your own text and prepare your design properly for print then cut, I walk you through it step by step in my advanced customization workshop. Since we clicked Auto Resize Image earlier, it's already the maximum size to print on a sheet of 8.5 by 11-inch iron-on transfer paper, and it fits the front of the shirt. And now your design is ready. Make sure the correct machine is selected in the top right, and click Make. On the Prepare screen, change the mat's material size to match your iron-on transfer paper. Mine's 8.5 by 11, or letter size. Make sure mirror is toggled off. Unlike most heat transfer vinyl and sublimation, don't mirror your iron-on paper transfers unless you want them backwards. Click Continue. Now grab a sheet of your iron-on transfer paper. The design should print on the side of the paper without lines, so be sure to load it correctly into your inkjet printer. Even if you're using a white or light-colored t-shirt, I recommend using iron-on transfer paper for dark fabrics because the results are clearer, more vivid, and more consistent. On the Make screen, click Send to Printer. A window may pop up letting you know that sensor marks or registration marks will be added to your printed page. Click Next. In the Print Setup window, make sure your inkjet printer is selected. Where it says Add Bleed, make sure the toggle is on so your printer adds some extra matching ink around the design's edges. That's how you get clean cuts without white spots. Turn the Use System dialog toggle on so you can choose your printer's best quality settings. Click Print. In the Print dialog box, don't worry if your screen looks different. Use the closest settings to mine. Change the paper size to match your material if needed, and select the highest quality matte photo paper or plain paper option. Then select the best quality print, and then click Print. To avoid ink smearing and ruining your transfer, leave the print face up for 5 to 10 minutes to dry. The wait will be worth it. On the Make screen in Design Space, click Browse All Materials. Cut settings matter here. Too light and you'll tear it. Too deep and you'll cut through the backing. So choose a setting made for the material. Printable iron-on dark. Then click Done. Set the pressure to more for a cleaner cut. Place your design face up on a clean green standard grip machine mat in the orientation shown on your screen. Set a clean sheet of copy paper over the design to protect it, then smooth it down with a brayer to make sure it's really well adhered. Check that your premium fine point blade is clean and in the clamp. For the cleanest Print Then Cut scan, turn off any direct light aimed at your Cricut. Sunlight and bright lamps can confuse the sensor. Then load your mat into your Cricut and press the flashing middle button to cut. Before you unload the mat, use your weeding tool to lift just a tiny corner along a cut line to check the cut. You want it to slice through the transfer layer, but not the backing sheet. Don't peel the whole design up, just do a small test lift. If it didn't cut all the way through, press the middle button again to make a second pass of cuts. Once the paper is cut, unload the mat, flip it over onto your work surface, and roll it back to release the entire sheet. Quick note before we press. You don't need to pre-wash your shirt unless you're pre-shrinking it for yourself. If this is a gift or something you're selling, press it as is. Just skip fabric softener if you do wash it, since that can interfere with adhesion. Preheat your heat press to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius and set the timer for 30 seconds. If you are using a household iron, use the setting that matches your t-shirt material, but avoid steam since moisture interferes with the adhesive. I recommend testing the iron's medium setting on an inside hem to make sure the temperature is right. Use a lint roller to remove lint or fuzz from the front of the shirt because it will keep the adhesive from sticking perfectly. Once heat hits the transfer, there's no moving it, so I'll show you my super simple way to line it up straight. Fold the shirt on the vertical center by matching up the sleeves, then place it on a heat-resistant mat or folded towel to protect your work surface. Lightly press the fold for about 5 seconds to form a crease, smooth wrinkles, and remove excess moisture. Place the area of the t-shirt you'll press back on the mat, then smooth out the fabric. Now you have a crease line you can use to line up your design. When adding a design to the front of your shirt, I recommend making and using my free downloadable t-shirt ruler guide. Place it just below the collar seam so the center mark matches the crease. Or use a measuring tape to measure 2 to 3 inches below the collar. Hold the design right side up, then fold the sides of the transfer paper together. If the design isn't symmetrical, use the sensor marks around it to find its center. Very lightly crease the top and bottom edges of the design. Don't worry, the creases will flatten once we press. Peel the design off the carrier sheet using the weeding tool to help lift the edges as you go. Be careful not to poke the printed design and go slowly to prevent tearing. Holding the paper face up, align the design's middle marks with the crease on the t-shirt and the ruler edge. When placing t-shirt designs, visual balance matters most. I usually start designs at the ruler's bottom, but that looks a little low, so I'll position the large area of the design to the ruler instead. Lightly lay it down, remove the t-shirt ruler, and place a sheet of parchment paper over the design and t-shirt. Now press your design at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 seconds with firm pressure. Keep both hands on the press and lean on it with some of your body weight. If the design is larger than your iron or press it in sections with a tiny overlap to make sure you press the entire design evenly for the correct time. Once you're finished pressing, carefully remove the parchment paper once it's cooled enough that it's safe to touch. Look at that! You just made a full-color t-shirt using Print Then Cut iron-on. Let me show you what it looks like on different colors. Here's the design on turquoise. Notice how vibrant the colors are even on darker fabric. And here it is on white. Crisp, clean, and full of detail. If your design has lots of colors or shading, you're using cotton, and you don't want to layer vinyl, this is such a great option. Remember, printers vary and we're using paper, so there is a risk of bleed like what happened with the light red on my teapot shirt. If that happens, try printing again with a normal setting, which will add less ink. Always remember handmade is supposed to be fun and doesn't have to be perfect. Vinyl is still perfect for when you want bold, solid colors, and sublimation is amazing when you want to use polyester for even longer lasting results. So get inspired because each method has its place, and now you know exactly when to use this one. Now, to keep your shirt in great shape, let the press design sit for at least 24 hours, and then you can wash it inside out in cold water. Tumble on low or hang to dry, and it should last through dozens of wears. Now tell me, which design would you wear? And if you don't have a Cricut cutting machine yet, I do a giveaway every month. You can find the details at jennifermaker.com/Cricut giveaway. And now it's your turn to make a Print Then Cut shirt. I would love to see your finished shirt, so join us over at jennifermaker.com/Cricut crafters and share a photo in our group. And that's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.